What's up, guys? It's your boy, Benny. We have all collectively as a nation decided to Bud Light Disney. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, ladies and gentlemen, Disney released Indiana Jones, or what they call an Indiana Jones, is essentially just a retcon, communist, corporatist, feminist propaganda tale that disgraced and treated Indiana Jones like a dead body to be defiled. The cultural necrophiliacs at Disney weren't expecting this, ladies and gentlemen. Here is a post. It's in Spanish, so I had it translated in Twitter. A post from a local theater that said The Sound of Freedom, a movie that was released, a small budget movie that was released starring Jim Caviezel of Passion of the Christ fame about child sex trafficking, something that Disney knows quite a bit about, we'll get into that later, is sold out. The tweet says that they added 6 showings to the theater, and this was what was posted on the 4th of July, that you need your tickets in hand, you cannot buy tickets, that this theater was so overwhelmed by the response for people to go see Sound of Freedom. Wow, we apologize for the inconvenience. All Sound of Freedom showings have been sold out, even though they added 6 more. Unbelievable. Tim Pool, who went and saw it, saying, go see Sound of Freedom. It is so brutal. I think half the theater was crying for 45 minutes. Sound of Freedom broke box office records by notching $10 million in pre-sales. For comparison, Indiana Jones notched only $6 million in pre-sales. That's in spite of a Disney advertising campaign that was relentless and withering. Sound of Freedom beats Disney's Indiana Jones 5 by millions of dollars on 2,000 fewer screens on July 4th. This is breathtaking. Sound of Freedom, the anti-child trafficking drama starring Jim Caviezel, has emerged as the #1 grossing movie on July 4th, surpassing Disney Indiana Jones: The Dial of Destiny, playing on far fewer screens. And we went and showed you those screens actually in a subsequent video. On opening night for Indiana Jones and the late night diarrhea, we have no seats sold in my local theaters. I was able to go and pop online and I can show you 4 or 5 maybe seats sold total. Incredible. Disney destroyed. The final tally, Sound of Freedom grossed $14 million on 2,000 screens on its opening day for a strong pre-screen average of $5,000 according to data from Box Office Mojo. Indy 5 mustered $11 million on 4,600 screens. That's twice as many screens at average per screen, $2,000, $2,500. So this movie is making twice as much. Wow. Incredible. Miraculous, you might say, for actor Jim Caviezel. Sound of Freedom beats Disney Indiana Jones on the box office. Great little piece of cover art here. Sound of Freedom whips Disney's Indiana Jones. Good headline for record 4th of July box office. So what does this mean? Well, this means that we are winning. This means that we are in control of culture. Disney, corporate conglomerates, and the destroyers, the cultural vandalizers who have taken it as their life's work to travel back in time to retcon and ruin your childhoods with characters like Luke Skywalker or Indiana Jones or Willow or whatever. Lucasfilm is just dead now. There's nothing else. The cupboards are bare. There's nothing else to defile. The crypt is bare inside of the morgue. There's nothing left for the cultural necrophiliacs to destroy. Ladies and gentlemen, not all the advertising and all the screens in the world that Disney can buy, not all the fancy advertising could stop Sound of Freedom from beating Indiana Jones. A legendary cornerstone American franchise inside of the Lucasfilm empire, owned by Disney. Get wrecked, Disney, says Jack Posobiec, showing that the Sound of Freedom is defeating it by nearly $5 million. And the theaters, obviously, Disney showing that on twice as many theaters. Sound of Freedom is the #1 movie in America, beating Disney. We beat Disney. Up against it was also another Disney movie, Elemental. It's a Pixar film that completely bombed. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse has been out for a couple of weeks. And Transformers. Sound of Freedom beat all of them. Incredible. Wow, wow, wow. Go see Sound of Freedom, says Ted Cruz. Topped the box office charts. Sound of Freedom rings. Jim Caviezel's sex trafficking thriller beats Indiana Jones 4. Why isn't Disney making any sex trafficking thrillers? Interesting. Buddy of mine saw Sound of Freedom at the movie tavern in Pennsylvania, and look what the waitress wrote. Most important film of our time. Bless you both. They got chicken tendies and hot sauce. Sounds delicious. President Trump posted about Sound of Freedom. Donald Trump retweeting this Jim Caviezel interview here. Other celebrities who've hopped on board. Tony Robbins is one of them, saying that this is one of the fastest growing criminal enterprises is child sex trafficking. Various anons on Twitter are saying, go see this movie. You'll be glad you did. Incredibly moving. My theater was full. And when it was over, the audience clapped. People were shell-shocked. It's a troubling movie to watch. As the scenes unfolded, I kept repeating, please God bless the children. Heartbreaking and presented very, very well. The responses are incredible. The responses to this of people saying it was such a touching movie. My soul was pained. I cried watching it, but it was very well done. Bless you. We'd love to watch the movie in other countries. Will it be available? When will this be available in the UK? I just ordered tickets for Friday. So good. Go see it. People saying, yes, go see it. Obviously, one of those people is Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson has stepped up and said that Sound of Freedom is one of the most important movies of our time. Have a listen.
Disturbing problems in our world today is human trafficking, and particularly the trafficking of children. Now, the first step in eradicating this crime is awareness. Go see Sound of Freedom.
First step in eradicating this crime is awareness. I wonder why Disney, which has had, I don't know, I've lost count of the number of child sex trafficking rings that have been busted up at Disney from Disney employees. I wonder why Disney doesn't want you to see this movie. I wonder why Disney is terrified that you may see this movie. Interesting. Jim Caviezel, who seems like a super decent dude, was at the theater surprising some of the fans who came to see the movie. We thought this was like a really great segment, actually. Jim Caviezel popping in and saying hi to fans who saw Sound of Freedom.
His performance is excellent.
I want to introduce you to somebody.
Hi.
Oh,
how you doing?
Oh my gosh!
Caviezel.
Oh my goodness!
Jim Caviezel then went and explained his passion, for lack of a better term, for beating Disney, especially given the subject matter of child sex trafficking.
Battle going on between Sound of Freedom and Disney's Indiana Jones. I'm going to read you, this is from Deadline. All industry eyes are watching the anomaly of this non-major studio independent title that has faith-based elements. Some pre-release projections had Sound of Freedom doing $11 million to $15 million over 6 days, not one day. Jim, the film being shown in only 2,600 theaters compared to Indiana Jones 4,600. It has made $14 million in one day. Indiana Jones made 11.7. What's going on here? Why is Disney fighting? They're saying the pre-sales shouldn't count, but they do count. You're the #1 movie.
Yeah. Well, this isn't about them, and it's not about Angel Studios putting it out. It's about the children and Americans waking up right now. And the only way these laws are going to be changed is that if the people move right now to save them. This is a good versus evil story. This is a battled hero story. And I was very blessed that I got the opportunity, just as I was blessed to do The Passion of the Christ. And this is the best film I've done since that film. It is a controversial issue. It shouldn't be. We should just be naturally wanting to save our children. But again, there's those out there that want to exploit them.
Yeah. It's curious to me that Disney had an opportunity to distribute this film when they bought 20th Century Fox. They let that go. And now Sound of Freedom has shown Indiana Jones the dial of destiny, which is pointing to extinction, I think.
Raymond, we are not Disney's film. We are the people's film. Can we love our children? Can we love God's children more than we fear evil? That's the challenge here. And Americans are up to it. I love it. And they hear the sound of freedom because God's children are no longer for sale.
Dude, that's power. I got chills watching it. God's children are no longer for sale. This isn't about Disney. This isn't Disney's film. This is the people's film. And they are proving that. Unbelievable. Indiana Jones is the most expensive movie ever made, topping $300 million. And that's what they tell us. That means that the film actually costs double. And that means that Indiana Jones will be one of the greatest box office bombs in the history of films. Meanwhile, the film that Disney passed on, Sound of Freedom, is crushing. And crushing, I think, some of the worst predations of the people who work at Disney. Again, a hive of scum and villainy, of child sex trafficking, and awful degenerates and delinquents who work at Disney and surround Disney. And no wonder they don't want to tell this tale, because they'd be telling on themselves. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, you should go see Sound of Freedom. I intend on doing that this weekend. Here is the trailer.
How many pedophiles you got? 288. How many kids you found?
Timoteo, tú rescatas niños, ¿verdad? ¿Puedes ayudarme a encontrar a mi hermana?
Te lo prometo.
For Homeland Security, you know we can't go off rescuing Honduran kids in Colombia.
Which means she'll disappear for good. Imagine walking into a room right now, seeing an empty bed. What we do?
You quit your job, and you go and rescue those kids.
So at this moment, she could be a block down the road, or she could be at Moscow, Bangkok, LA. She's a major operator.
It's all rebel territory. No one goes in. Not the army, not the police, not us. What if this was your daughter?
There's no Marine unit coming.
You're on your own. This job tears you to pieces. And this is my one chance to put those pieces back together.
When God tells you what to do,